It's the Delhi ground, and we have seen 219, 220 chases. It's improbable, but it's not impossible. What's the big deal that we're making? Well, I'll tell you one thing. At the 10-over mark, they were 80 odd for 3, which meant they needed about 14 and over in the back 10 with 7 wickets to go. That's why we're like this, because it's what has happened. It's gone down to the last ball. I think any match that goes to the last ball, whether it's a 220 game or a 120 game, tends to leave you a little breathless. But I think it's just the audacity. I think just the sheer audacity of what has happened in the last few overs and what Kieron Pollard has done. Is that the right word, Harsha, to use, the audacity of Pollard today?
Just the overwhelming nature of the way he plays when he's on song. I think a bit like Haydos used to be in his prime, and Pollard's bigger than Haydos. I think when the bowlers are running in, Pollard is putting the fear into the bowler, saying, what if I miss? What if I miss? Where is he going to hit me? And I wonder if Ngidi was thinking like that when he ran in. Where do I not bowl rather than where do I bowl? I think he's intimidating more than audacity. I think he's just intimidating Pollard.
I think that's the question I'd like to ask Simon. Where do you bowl to him when he's in that kind of form?
Full and wide.
I mean, full and wide, they tried. I think full and wide at pace is okay. If you can set a field one side of the ground. But when you're getting hit everywhere, that's the issue for me. You cannot afford to get hit over cover, over backward square, over long off, over long on, through mid-wicket. You can't afford that. If you get hit one side of the ground, if you get hit in one area and he takes you down, fair play to him. He's had a great day. You also, I guess, you've got to give yourself a field where you've got 2 options. Now, 2 options might be, you might be looking to jam a Yorker in at leg stump. You might be looking to bluff him every now and then and go full and wide. And the other one might be take the pace off. But these guys that have developed only one slower ball, Ngidi's got one slower ball and one slower ball only, and that's the off cutter. Now,
easy to pick, isn't it?
It is easy to pick. It is slightly easier to pick. So it's only ever going to swing into Kieron Pollard's arc. The really clever bowlers around the world now who are becoming T20 specialists, very good T20 bowlers, they're developing 2 slower balls at least. Whether it be a knuckleball and an off cutter, Bhuvi's got both. Shami's got mainly the off cutter for him, and he's trying the knuckleball. But you have to develop another one somewhere along the lines. You cannot afford just to be going one way only. So he's got to develop the leg roller, something maybe out the other side of the hand. There has to be something, some more development from a bowling point of view. You just can't say, well, Pollard had his day every time. Look, they will be devastated. And I don't want to bang on about how bad, some of the bowling was at times, because it seems like I'm taking it away from what was some incredibly devastating hitting and something you just love to see. And it was a smart innings too from Kieron Pollard, because you see, when I think he was on about 30 something, and he'd just taken one over down, and he just quietly nudged one into the offside and took a single off the last ball of the over. It was a thinking man's innings tonight, and he felt he had to be the one to do it, and he was the one that did it. It was just it was Mumbai through and through, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they were never going to win. They were never going to qualify for the playoffs. They weren't winning. They couldn't win, and they won, and they'll qualify again.
Yeah, Doull have been talking to this. On one of, especially in Mumbai, often found ourselves in the same car, and I'm fascinated because I don't think Pollard's just a slogger. If you're a slogger, you don't last this long. And he talks about Pollard's interest in the game, about his mentorship. He was talking on air today, and one of the analysts told me Pollard is big into matchups, into analysis. Last year, I was doing one of the presentations, and I said, Kieron, you're big into analytics. He said, yeah, man. No, look at I spent time. So I think there's much more to Pollard because he's big and he hits all those big shots. There is this stereotype, he's just a slogger. I think he's a far more clever cricketer than you give him credit for.
He's a smart cricketer. And when he first came onto the international scene, and we saw him through the Champions Leagues and tournaments, didn't we, when he first burst onto the scene? If you looked then at his first class record, I think he was averaging around about 43, 44 with the bat in first class cricket. So he's a very good player. I think they missed a trick in those early days, the West Indies, by not having him somewhere in and around that test team more often, because at that stage there weren't many players in that West Indies setup who were averaging early to mid 40s in first class cricket. and he was one of those players. He's a way better cricketer than just a power slogger or a hitter. He's a smart man. You see that with what he's developed with the ball as well. It's not always going to have success, but he had success tonight with the ball because he's thought about it. He thinks about what to do. He thinks about taking the pace off, and he will know. He'll know his matchups. He'll know what suits him best in those games. And yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. 2 overs 2 for 12 with the ball.
Yeah.